All right, I think we're going now. Welcome. This is Carl Bastian. I'm from Kidology. Hopefully you guys had a chance to watch that silly video that I made on bringing the Bible to life. I had a lot of fun making that for KidMin Academy. What a great topic, and of course one that I'm passionate about, as you saw, dressing up like a goofy mad scientist. But I thought, you know, I would rather kind of do the things that I'm going to talk about rather than just talk about them. You know, years ago, I was at a conference and I went to a seminar on humor. And I thought, well, that'd be good. And the presenter, I thought it was a joke for a while. He was going over 10 ways to use humor in your teaching, but he never used any humor. He didn't tell a joke. About 10 minutes into it, I thought, this is his gimmick. And then he's going to kind of, laugh about it. And but the whole workshop was boring and it was about humor. And I kind of went away from that scratching my head, but I also went away going, okay, that was an extreme example, but I got to make sure that I learned from that. And what I took away from that, besides 10 ways I could potentially use humor in ministry, is I went away with, if you're going to teach on something, do it. Don't just talk about it. And so that was a lot of fun. So you might be wondering why I'm wearing a referee shirt. No, I did not just get out of jail. They're not offering prison uniforms with collars nowadays. But we're going to talk about something tonight that's a little sports related. We're going to go with a little bit of a sports theme. And by the way, if you just got here, I mentioned before I hit record that Ryan Frank may be here tonight. One of his kids has got a piano recital, and sometimes those go pretty fast, but he found out tonight everybody's playing. And I don't know if you've ever been to one of those concerts, they can go long. So if he gets a chance, he's going to text me, and he's going to hustle over to the church and try and join us. But he may not be able to, and that'd be perfectly fine. And if we can just go on without him. We know Ryan's a busy guy doing a lot of cool stuff to help KidMins all over the place, including KidMin Academy. So I'm so glad to have you here. Looks like right now we've got about 77 people. There is a chat over there. And because I don't have Ryan moderating, I'll try to watch that, but I got to talk and read at the same time. That'll be kind of fun. And then we'll get to a Q&A time as well. So first of all, thank you for your time, for coming here. Thanks for investing in yourself by being a part of KidMin Academy. Thanks for being willing to stretch yourselves and to try some new things. You know, this is the second year that I've done this class for KidMin Academy, and each year, I haven't seen as much this year, but some people kind of freak out over the I got to come up with 4 ways to teach a Bible story. I've loved reading in the Facebook group the Bible stories you're choosing. Some of you are picking some really challenging ones, and I commend you for that. But even if it's a familiar one, to try and teach in some new ways. So let me just say, don't let this be a stress to you. Let it be a challenge. Let it be trying something new. And like I said in one of the comments there, you may try something and it may totally bomb, and you may, I will never do that again, but that's all right. It's still a learning experience. Even identifying what you stink at is important in leadership. You know, there's lots of books about discovering your spiritual gifts and discovering, your talents. I think there ought to be a book on how to discover what you stink at. Because once you identify what you stink at, then you know where not to put your time, where to recruit others who rock at that, and so you can put your time in what you're best at. But at the same time, it is good to challenge yourself, because you may discover that there's some things you really enjoy that maybe you never tried before. So you might try a magic trick for the first time. You may try, object lesson, or writing a puppet routine when or something. I remember one time I was invited back to a church where I had been the children's pastor, and I was invited back to a mother-daughter banquet, and I was honored to go back. They were kind of like, hey, we miss you, Carl, so come speak at this event. And I was actually really struggling with it, because I had been at that church for many years, and I thought, what can I do that they haven't already seen? I mean, this body of believers, they know all my jokes, they know my puppets jokes, they've seen my magic show I don't know how many times. And so I thought, boy, it would be great to try something new that I'd never done. And you know what I did? It's crazy. I did a clown routine. Now, if you know me, you know that's significant, because I don't dislike clowns. Like, if you're a clown, I love you. but clowning was never something I felt comfortable doing, mostly because I didn't want to paint my face and get sticky stuff on my hands. Ever since I was a little kid, I hated that. But I thought that's something I've never done. So I blatantly stole an awesome routine that I saw another clown do at the Children's Pastors Conference, and then and I did it. I didn't paint my face, but I got the nose and the hat and the costume. And another thing that was different is this role had no talking. It was all pantomime. It was all coming out with flowers and passing the balloons, and passing a hug and ripping a heart and restoring a heart, but with not talking. And for me, that was different. And it was different for those who knew me and had been part of my ministry. And I did this whole 20-minute routine to music and motion. And it was a women's event. And when I saw tears in the eyes of some of the moms, you know, if you make the women cry at a women's event, I mean, that's the goal, right? It meant, you know, that it was having an emotional impact. And they loved it. I'll never do it again. I was so out of my comfort zone, but I enjoyed it. And I actually came to appreciate people that do that. So that's my challenge. Try 4 new ways to teach. Try it, evaluate it, learn from it, and you may find that you really enjoy it. So I've let a little bit of time go by with chatter. We've gone up some more folks. We're 86 now. Welcome. Glad you're here. We're going to talk today, or this evening, or whatever time it is where you are. We've got someone from China, so I think it might be morning for you. Welcome. But we're going to talk about the fundamentals. That's why I'm wearing a referee shirt, all right? Because one of the things I've noticed is anytime a sports team wins a championship, and when it's not expected, you know, it's one of those teams that everyone's surprised at, and they overcame odds, and they make it all the way to the championship game. I remember being from Chicago a few years ago when the White Sox won, and it was a big surprise because the team did not really have any superstars on it. There were good players, but it didn't have, you know, a Frank Thomas or I don't know who the big baseball players are now. If I drop names, I'm going to date myself. They're all the big players from the 70s and 80s. But they talk about how you'll hear these interviews and they say, well, you know, we just went back to the basics. You know, it was all about fundamentals. And you'll hear that in football interviews. You'll hear that in golf interviews. You'll hear it in basketball. You know, we came in and we just started doing drills and we started relearning the fundamentals. And I think that's really true in kids ministry, in probably every area of life. If we really want to win, if we want to surprise ourselves and surprise our boss and surprise the kids and the families, you know, the secret is not always a new product or a new teaching technique. I mean, I saw these smart boards coming out, you know, these whiteboards that are hooked up to computer. I'm like, oh, I want one of those. They're like $2,000, and it'd probably be cool. But you know what? You don't always have to have those new cool things. Going back to the fundamentals can be amazing. In fact, I should have pulled them. I won't go looking for them. I've got a huge library of children's ministry books and ministry books. Being the son of 2 pastors, my father-in-law and my dad, as they've gotten older, they keep giving me their books. My poor son, when he starts getting my collection. But they've been giving me some really old books. And I've actually thought about doing some writing or blogging or something about some of these ancient books. I mean, I'm talking late 1800s, but then even to 40s and 50s. And I'm reading these books going, man, they had this stuff figured out. And our means have changed and our applications have changed, but the basic techniques for how to teach kids really haven't changed. The fundamentals have not changed. And so I want to briefly go through something that some of you, this might actually be new to you. And others of you are going to go, oh yeah, I remember hearing that back in Bible college. And here it is. Ready? This is the most fundamental. It's 4 words that you need to be able to look at every lesson and point to and say, that's that one's that one's that, and that one's that. Because no matter what curriculum you use, or if you write your own material because you're super creative and you can't follow curriculum because the curriculum writer wouldn't recognize it by the time you were done anyway, whatever you use, you want to have these 4 things. And when I say the first one, a bunch of you are going to know the rest. But don't put them in the comments. Don't show off, all right? You just pat yourself on the back that you know all 4, because I want to undo these in order, because I have a feeling this may be new to some of you if you're newer to ministry and you've just been blessed with all the curriculum and resources and stuff, because I don't see this very often anymore. And the first one is, you ready for it? Drum roll, drum roll. It's the hook, all right? The hook, all right? Anytime we teach, my screensaver just went out. Okay, there I am. That was weird. Every time we teach, we need to have, toward the beginning of the lesson, if not the very first thing, but it doesn't have to be, you could be creative, is a hook. All right, and a hook is something that does exactly, it hooks kids on the lesson. All right, it creates an environment. Why should you even listen to this lesson? Why should you be good? Why should you obey the rules? Why should you sit still in your chair and not be bothering your neighbor? All right, now a hook comes from fishing, right? And what do you put on the hook? You don't put hooks out in the water, all right? That would not be very successful. You got to put some bait on that hook, right? And so it's really baiting the kids in. It's creating some kind of experience or question or activity that creates the hook. It baits them in, and now they want to learn. It's earning the right to learn. And there's lots of ways to do this, all right? And curriculums, we'll call it sparking interest, or, you know, they'll have different names for it. But that's what it is. And to me, it's the most important part of the lesson, because if I can hook them, the rest of my lesson doesn't even have to be as strong as if I hadn't hooked them, all right? And you can do it through a game. Like I've done games where the kids come up in the first game in a circle of kids with bowls of candy. They have to get as much candy as they can from the kid next to them's bowl, grab it and put it in their bowl. But of course, the kid next to them is grabbing the candy from your bowl to his bowl, and it's representing greed. And they're playing. And then the second round of the game is they got to get rid of their candy. They got to empty their bowl and get as candy and put it in the other kid's bowl. But as much as they give, they're getting. And then it ends up being an illustration or an object lesson on how you notice that they got as much, if not more, giving than they did when they were trying to get. When they were trying to get, they got frustrated because they kept losing and they had to keep getting more. But when they were giving, they never had to worry about it because someone else was giving to them. And so that can be a hook into the lesson. You can use a riddle. One of my favorites was years ago, and maybe you've heard this riddle, but I love it. I was teaching on Noah parting the Red Sea, all right? Pretty incredible story. And I started out with a riddle, and here it is. I got this in email years ago. What is greater than God, more evil than Satan? Rich people need it, poor people have it, and if you eat it, you will die. And I got this in an email years ago. I mean, email was like brand new. I'd explain what email was back then. And the story that came with the riddle was that kindergartners get this riddle right away, and college-educated people don't. So I'll repeat it again in case you don't know it. All right. It was, what is greater than God, more evil than Satan? Rich people need it, but poor people have it. And if you eat it, you will die. Well, I kept going back to that riddle all morning, and kids were saying faith and belief and trust and all these things. And then my whole lesson talking about the parting of the Red Sea. In fact, it was when I did the first toy box tale, the parting of the Red Sea of Jello, if you've seen that. I just kept saying, nothing is impossible for God. And I would use the word nothing over and over and over again. And finally, I revealed at the end of Kids Church that the answer to the riddle I've been giving them the whole morning. It was nothing. You see, nothing is greater than God. Nothing is more evil than Satan. Rich people need nothing. Poor people have nothing. And if you eat nothing, you will die. So it's a hook. It's something that captures them in. I use a puppet a lot named Gus. And Gus always has a problem that our lesson's going to solve. I've done experiments where I had a spilled over trash can at the entrance. And we're going to talk about servanthood that day, an initiative. And all morning, I watched this garbage can, and finally when the lesson started, how many of you noticed the garbage can spilled over? Yeah. How many of you thought of cleaning it up? Yeah, nobody. How many thought someone should clean that up? Yeah. And so we talked about, well, that's what initiative is, seeing what needs to be done, but then doing something about it without having to be told, all right? And so I could give you an hour of examples, but it's some kind of game or activity or a hook, and now they're in, and they want to learn. They want to engage. So that's your hook, all right? I got my cheat sheet over here. After the hook is one of the most important ones content-wise, and that's simply the book, all right? The Bible. Do you know how rare the Bible is becoming in children's ministry today? It's frustrating. I mean, I go to visit churches and I want to do a sword drill or something, and there's no Bibles, and kids aren't bringing Bibles. And I know we're going through a cultural change where people are just using their phones for their Bible, right? But when you use it just electronically, you don't get a sense of the size of where things are, and that it's not just something being made up like the internet or created by man. So using the Bible and using the book and actually having a passage that you're going to teach through or a story and showing the kids where it comes from. I'm a big fan and advocate of kids bringing their Bibles to church, and not just to get a candy or reward. And people debate all you want about whether we should give kids rewards or not. That's a different podcast. I think it's great as long as it's not every single week, you know. But as rewards, I think rewards are great. I think, just in summary, adults love rewards, and we shop at places and gas up and do so many things based on rewards because it's part of our DNA. And if we need rewards, how much more so kids that don't have the maturity that we do? But that shouldn't be the only reason they bring it. It should actually be used and opened and be a part of it. So having a theme verse. I have been amazed at teachings I've sat through where the Bible's never mentioned. A passage is never read. And this isn't just kids' church. I mean, I've been to churches and listened to senior pastors, great communicators, teaching wonderful things, even Christian spiritual things, and never even utilizing the book. And we want to be people of the book. So you got to hook him. And then you take that hook and you take them to the book. Here's what the Bible says. Here's what God says about that. All right. And then you get to the look. The look is the next one. And the look is where you explore it. All right. What does this mean? You know, what was happening here? And you explore it through activities, through dramas, in small group time. A lot of your look can be in small group where the kids get to talk and you challenge them. And then the last one, it goes hook, book, look. And the last one is the took. All right, sounds kind of funny. But the took is the application. What are they going to took with them home? All right, you know, it's church. You got to have alliteration. But every week giving kids something practical that they can do. And I like to say it answers the question, so what? I mean, it's a great Bible story, great game, great crafts, great lesson. But so what? I mean, why is this important to my life? And that's where that took comes in. It's like, okay, this is what it's going to look like. I mean, for this Sunday, I'm teaching at church, in my new church. I'm a new children's pastor. I'm excited about it. And my first Sunday, I'm doing Mother's Day, and I'm working through a Mother's Day lesson, doing Moses's mom and the way she loved her son and protected him. But our took is going to be having the kids come up with something tangible that they can do to show love and gratitude to their mom. Not just a card or a flower or a hug saying I love you, but a way that they can serve their mom. And then when they do it, then their mom hopefully will notice. And when the mom says, wow, that was so nice that you did whatever, their answer is going to be, I just wanted you to know that I love you. All right, that's a took. All right, it's an assignment. One of my favorite experiences years ago was when a little boy, a mom called me and said, what did you teach on Sunday? And I said, I don't know. Why are you asking? I get these calls a lot. And she says, well, my son did something strange. And I said, well, what did he do? And she says, well, we went to Walmart and actually Target or something. And grandma had sent him $5 for his birthday. She lives out of state. So they went to the store to buy something with that $5. And when they got to the store, he said, Mom, this was Sam, Matt's his big brother. He said, Mom, what's Matt saving up for? And she said, well, Matt's saving up for a Spider-Man action figure. And he said, then that's what I'm going to buy. Well, she thought he was going to buy it to kind of go home and go, oh, I got a Spider-Man. And so she said, no, you don't buy a Spider-Man figure. You get something that you want. And, you know, Matt's birthday comes along, he can buy his Spider-Man action figure. And he said, no, Mom, I want to buy it for him. She thought, well, that's kind of weird. She thought, well, we'll see what happens here. So she did. She let him buy this action figure. And when he came home, she watched, and he walked up to Matt and said, here, Matt. And then he walks away. He didn't explain. He didn't make any accolade about, you know, what wonderful person he was, like a little Pharisee bragging about his giving. He just did it, went out with his day. And so she calls me. What did you do on Sunday? My kid's acting strange. And so I said, well, I taught on the golden rule, which means to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So at our end of our lesson, I had all the kids close their eyes, bow their heads. We quieted the room after all the crazy stuff we did. And I said, I want you to think of something that would be really cool if someone did it for you. And make it realistic. Don't make it give you $1 million or buy you a car or give you an all-expense paid trip to Walt Disney World. That ain't going to happen. I want you to think of something that could actually happen, probably won't, but really could. I mean, someone, if they wanted to, if they really liked you and they loved you and they were nice, they might do this for you. You know, and I said it might be buy you a dessert at lunch in the lunchroom with their own money. It might be give you cuts in line so you can get to the drinking fountain faster because they notice how hard you're breathing. You know, think of something kind of cool that you would like if someone did that to you. So the kids thought, and they're thinking, they had them raise their hands as they came up with their thing. And once every hand was up, I said, all right, your assignment this week is to do the thing you thought of, but do it for someone else instead of them doing it for you. Oh, man, you wouldn't believe it. I had kids go, no way! I get, you tricked us! Yeah! It was great. But see, they were thinking selfishly what would be cool if someone did to me, but their assignment was to reverse that. And I said, guys, that's what the golden rule is. It's to do to others what you'd have them do for you. Now, you just thought of something you'd like them to do for you. God wants you to now go do that to someone else. And we had some cool stories, but boy, when Sam's mom called, she said, well, you know what? He must have thought it would be cool if Matt bought me a toy, because Matt's always the guy that has more money as the big boy than the little guy. And so it was so cool. But see, that life experience, that's when you've taught. If kids' lives don't change, if something isn't different during the week because of their experience on Sunday, then you really haven't taught. You have just talked. And if you want to do more than talk, you want to actually teach. That's discipleship. That's changing lives. All right. So I'm going to review those. It's the hook, bait them, draw them in, get them to want to learn. All right. Then take it to the book. We are a people of the Word of God, and point them to the Bible, and then take a look at it, explore it, unpack it, give the history, the background, do a creative Bible story, all that, and then you can end with that took. Now, if you've gotten the Kidology handbook, some of you are going, wait a minute, you added one in the handbook. And I did. Years ago, I added cook. And cook was to give them some way to do something with what they've learned. All right. And that can be a craft. It can be an activity. It can be an assignment. So it's more than just go do this. It's give them a project, right? And I kind of add that for fun because it rhymed with the same O-O-K. So that's my challenge for you this evening. When you're teaching, and even as you work on those 4 assignments for your Bible study, you may want to come up with a hook, a book, a look, and a took, or at least identify, you know what, I think this would be a good hook, or you know what, this would be good. This would be a good took at the end, or this would be a great look activity. All right, because those elements will guarantee that your teaching is effective. All right. Your pastor does it when he preaches. He tries to open with a hook. He may not even know it if he's not a CE guy, but he tries to engage you for the rest of the sermon with a story, with a joke, with a news article or something. It's a formula for effective communication. And then once you earn the right to be heard, well, then you got to deliver. That's your book and your look. But if you want to change their lives, there has to be a took. All right. So that was pretty awesome. So I want to open it up to some questions. I have not heard from Ryan, so he is still at his daughter's recital. And it says here there are 110 messages. All right. So I'm gonna scroll here a little bit. I'm getting past the different places that people are from. Hey, we got some Canadians, eh? All right. Someone was challenged by the video. That's great. Oh, thank you. Someone called it the bomb. I didn't know it bombed. sorry about that. So let's see here. Yeah, I know. They made it a compliment, you know. What are these compliments nowadays? You know, with kids, like, man, that was wicked, and that means good. Or that was sick, and that means it was good. Or that was bomb, that was good. You know, when I was a kid, if you bombed it, man, you blew it up. So I'm going down here and looking for some question marks. Oh, thank you for these encouraging words about the video. I'm so glad that it is, bomb diggity. All right. So let's see, where do I get inspiration from, Carl? That's a great question. That comes from, it cuts off your name. It says it's from Wen. I'm guessing that's from Wendy, or someone else with that name. So where do I get my inspiration from? You know what? I get it from kids. You know, I call myself the Kidologist, and my ministry is called Kidology. And I often like to remind people, I did not nickname myself the Kidologist to mean that I'm an expert or some guru of kids ministry. Far from it. That nickname came from a realization when I was new in ministry. I observed some children's ministry people that I looked up to, and some even invited out to my church, and the stuff they were doing was dated. And the kids just weren't connecting. And I felt bad for them, because I was like, man, that's some good stuff. And it was probably good back in the day. And I was in my young 20s, and I knew I was kind of having a lot of opportunities, speaking at camps and conferences and things. And I thought, you know what, I'm seeing some great response now, but man, in 30 years, that's going to be me. I'm going to be like doing the same thing I did now, and I'm going to not be effective. And I made a commitment. I need to always be learning. All right, I must never arrive. I must never think I've got this nailed. And so I want to become a kidologist. It means a student of kids in their world. I mean, I carry a fidget gadget around now everywhere I go. Have you seen these? #1 selling toy on Amazon. There's kiosks at the mall, and I didn't plan this. This literally was just laying there. Because I want to be in on what kids are in. I want to watch their shows. When I wasn't a dad, then I had to make an extra effort. I do a survey of the kids at my church every year when I was a children's pastor, called it Get to Know You. And I want to know, what's your favorite book? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite toy? What's your favorite breakfast cereal? Go out and buy that breakfast cereal. I order Happy Meals when I go to the McDonald's, because I want to know what the toy is and play with the toys. Now that I'm a parent, I have a season where it's a little easier. So I play Minecraft. I run a Minecraft realm. Right now, I am doing Clash Royale. If you have not played Clash Royale, you got to download that. It's a fun game. You don't have to do resources and gathering and farming. I did a farming one for a while, and I was like, that's too much work. I have to run a kids ministry. I don't have time for a farm. But this Clash Royale, I actually have a clan. If you want to join my clan, just start playing Clash Royale, and then look for the KidMin clan, and you can join my clan. All right? They have 50 members, and it's already got, I think I'm up to 15. I just started this, but it's because I play with my son, and it's remote. And so literally I'm at home or at work, and my wife's driving my son to school, and we're doing a battle. They're 4-minute battles. We're doing a battle on our iPads. Sometimes I'm at work downstairs, and I know he's upstairs. I'll just turn on my Clash Royale, and it shows me who's active in the clan, and I play with my son. So my inspiration comes from kids. And then I start going, how can I translate this into ministry? If you've been on my YouTube channel, you've seen last year I built a Minecraft set. We had the portal that went to the nether, and we did videos. So really it comes from the kids in the world of kids, being current with kids, talking to kids, buying the kids' toys. In fact, I think you can see a little bit of my toy collection in the back there. My screen just froze. I got nervous. I got my Death Star rug. But yeah, just keeping up with kids and their toys. All right, so I'm going to keep scrolling here. And we go back up. Oh, good. We got some questions. What is the Kidology Handbook? Let me just give you a link. I think Ryan is selling it at a discount through the KidMin Academy, but there's a link to get it on Kidology. So I'm going to scroll back up here. And there, I'm back to where I left before. What do you say to the parents that do not approve of magic tricks and who only approve of the King James Version Bible? Well, first of all, let me say you're not going to please everybody. So be gracious, but be confident in what you believe and where you stand. If your church is KJV, you probably should use KJV or find a ministry, where you'll feel more comfortable. A lot of people don't understand the history of the King James Version. It wasn't approved by God. It was approved by the King. And we won't spend a lot of time on that. But you need to be in a place where you can minister. But just grace. Just say, I'm so glad you respect that. I do too. I love the sound of the King James Version. But I try not to debate. And I found with your KJV people, you're not going to convince them. And because they love it, and it comes from a deep-rooted love for the Word of God, and I'm cool with that. They say, well, here's the reason I use this version is I don't want to spend my time explaining what it means when a translation helps out with children. It's kind of like a Bible storybook for kids. That's what translations are for adults as well. And so, yeah, I'll have my convictions if I have my pastor's backing to use what's most appropriate. And the magic, I do avoid the word magic at church. Because there are people who rightfully are concerned because the Bible clearly forbids magic. The problem is the magic in the Bible is not the magic that you're doing. The magic in the Bible is witchcraft. It's calling on demons and evil powers, and you're not doing that. I had one senior pastor who saw me do some magic tricks, and he was concerned that I was using demonic power. I said, I'll let you pick one trick, just one, and I'll show you how I did it. But you got to pick carefully because I'm only going to show you one. So he picked the trick, and when I showed how I did it, he was so embarrassed. Because it's some gimmick, it's so simple. He felt like a fool that he ever was fooled, and he said, all right, that's fine. So sometimes it's a matter of just give away the secret. If it's bothering them, hey, it ain't worth the secret. Just say I had a little thing in my hand or it was up my sleeve or, give away your gimmick. And then I describe them as really object lessons with a surprise ending. And say, Jesus did magic tricks, right? But they were called miracles, all right? He wasn't using the demon's power. He was accused of that, of course, but he wasn't. Well, obviously, we don't have power, so we have to cheat, and so we use gimmicks and things like that. But Jesus used amazing visuals to illustrate and to capture his audience. I mean, man, breaking those fish and those bread and having all those leftovers, I mean, that got people talking. It got people coming back to hear more. And so when you do a gospel illusion, or I call them object lessons with a surprise ending, you're going to bring them back. So, yeah, just say, I so appreciate your concern over the word magic. I wish it wasn't called magic, but it's really just an object lesson with a surprise ending, or it's a trick. If you want me to tell you how I did it, I'd be more than happy to show you how I did it. Just don't tell your kid, and that's a lot of fun. So HBLT, I don't know. Someone said, what is HBLT? I have no idea. Oh, duh. That's hook, book, look, and took. Someone else must have typed those initials. Have I used the Action Bible in my teaching? Yes. I have actually bought them in bulk and encouraged kids to buy those. The Action Bible, I could run and get it, but I won't. I grew up on the picture Bible that David T. Cook did when I was a kid. I read that thing cover to cover. And my dad, the pastor, even got flack because people would see me with my comic book Bible in church, and he'd say, oh, no, he knows that Bible cover to cover. Now they've redone it with a Marvel artist, and there's the full comic Bible, but there's also an ESV study Bible that has some of the comics with the actual text of the Bible, and I encourage the older boys to get that. They've also got Action Bible commentary and devotional. I'm using that stuff with my son. It's fantastic. And let me tell you, when I went to Bible college freshman year, and I'm not telling you the story to brag, I'm telling you because of the power of the comic book Bible, I completely aced the Old Testament survey and New Testament survey entrance exams that would determine, whether I went to advanced or basic in Bible college. And my professor pulled me in and he said, you got the highest score that I've ever seen on the Old Testament Bible survey of the order of the story. You had to put who was whose grandparents, what stories happened in what order. And he said, how did you know this that well? And I said, it's because I read the comic book Bible so many times as a kid that I open to any Bible story, I know everything that happened before it and everything that happened after it. And I really credit that David C. Cook picture Bible for having a really good grasp of the story of the Bible. And so, yeah, that's fantastic. Definitely use that. We keep a set in every room, but also encourage kids to bring their own. Fabulous. At the end of the month, they get candy for every service that they brought it. That's fantastic. One thing I do to balance that whole we don't want to do rewards and kids should get rewards is I don't do it every week. 1 week I'll show up with a big container of licorice. If you got your Bible, hold it above your head. You get a piece of licorice. And then next week, kid comes with the Bible. Where's my licorice? I say, I'm not doing licorice this week. But last week, I'll say, yeah, every now and then I'm going to give everyone a candy that brought their Bible, but we don't bring our Bible for the candy. We bring the Bible because we're learning it. So bring it every week, and I'll bet you'll get a candy in the weeks ahead. And when that happens, I still might slip them a candy, a one-on-one basis, just to show love. What is in the Kidology handbook? Oh my goodness. All kinds of stuff. It's got how to do object lessons, how to share the gospel, discipline, preschool lessons, games, wordless book explanation, all kinds of stuff. It's really kind of a blueprint for ministry. I wrote it years ago, and I've always been encouraged by how many newbies, especially in children's ministry, have said that is my blueprint for my ministry. So a lot of helpful stuff in there. Have any of your ideas totally bombed when I share one? Oh, you know what? When Brian Dollar wrote his book, I Blew It, I was mad at him because I was working on the exact same idea. So I offered to him to write a book called I Blew It 2. Get it? I Blew It 2, like volume 2 also. Oh, man, you learn through your mistakes. And I had a great idea one time for David and Goliath and David and his 5 stones. I got some totes, filled them with styrofoam, and I hid stones down in the bottom, and the kids had to race up, find the 5 stones from the creek, and then go do something with them, throw them at a friend. I don't know, slingshot them. But anyway, what I didn't realize is styrofoam is bad because they tracked the styrofoam because they had to run around or something. And styrofoam got throughout the entire church. My pastor was ready to kill me. He was pretty gracious about it. But I'm walking out and I'm seeing just tracks of styrofoam everywhere. Like 2 totes was it. And it was able to cover the entire church. It was funny. Another time I got a great idea for this game. I used to drink Mountain Dew like an addict years ago. Some of you, I used to be known as the Mountain Dew guy, and I haven't had Mountain Dew since 2009, except when I go to Taco Bell. Then I, kind of fall off the wagon just for a while I'm at Taco Bell. But I got this idea because I started saving tin cans. And then we did this battle for the walls of Jericho and Old Testament conquest where they built these towers of Mountain Dew cans. And then I gave them giant marshmallows. And we just had this all-out war. And I probably should mention the room had red carpeting. Yeah, the fellowship hall that was also used as the kids' church room in this little church, my first ministry, mushed marshmallow into red carpet. And my boss did not handle that as well as I would have liked him to. He had me personally clean that floor. Didn't want to call in the service master, so I was on my hands and knees for a week. Talk about being humbled and learning your lesson. Oh my gosh, that was really funny. But yeah, things will bomb. I've tried object lessons that bombed, and I tell the kids what it was supposed to do. But you know what? The biggest key to the fundamentals is the fun. Fundamentals. If you're having fun teaching, the kids will have fun learning. I remember there was an object lesson where you fill a water balloon and you put a lighter under it, and for some reason the fire is not supposed to pop the balloon, and then you talk about how God protects us. The balloon totally popped for me, right? Oh well. I had someone email me once, Carl, I tried this object lesson from Kidology where you throw a match in a bottle and you put a hard-boiled egg on top and it sucks it into the bottle. He goes, the thing went halfway and then pfft, and they're emailing me to let me know my object lesson on my website bombed. And but that's if you're having fun, the kids aren't going to care. Someone else impressed with the took part. Well, thanks, but I didn't come up with that. It's been around since the 50s. Action Bible's awesome. Do you have a suggestion for encouraging kids to read their Bibles for themselves? Oh, yeah, that's what it's all about, right? Well, I'll tell you what. When I speak at summer camp, I have a challenge I give that I have heard back from parents that kids have really taken it to heart. And I got this from a church that I visited years ago. They had journals out in the lobby, and they had CAD-VAD written on them. CADVAD. In fact, I'm just gonna type that really quick. It looked like this: CAD/VAD. And what that stands for is chapter a day, verse a day. And I don't provide journals to kids. I tell them, go home. We teach about the importance of God's word and how to study God's word. Then I say, you just need to go get a notebook, write CAD-VAD on the cover, and put volume 1. Then you'll be challenged to finish it and start a volume 2. And every day, just read a chapter. And you can don't start in Genesis. You're going to get stuck about, a month into it, and you're going to be reading this weird genealogy stuff. I tell them, start with the New Testament, start with the Gospels, or go to an exciting book like Acts or whatever. But then just read a chapter and then choose one verse that you're going to write out. And if you're a journaler, you can write about the chapter, you can draw pictures about the chapter, but all I'm asking you to do is write out one verse. And sometimes there's like 5 verses, and you're going to be wanting, don't write out 5 verses. You have to pick only one. All right, next time you read that, you can have one of the other verses. But sometimes it's challenging. You can't find that one verse, all right? And so then you really read deeper, not diaper. And I've had kids bring in their KidMin notebooks. If they do it for 30 days, they can bring it in and get a prize or a reward. I've taken pictures of them with their KidMin journal, and we've had a wall of the wall of fame up on the wall with their pictures. But yeah, that's a practical challenge. Just giving them a bookmark with 5 things to read during the week that they check off and their parents sign. If they bring that back, they get a Bible trading card or whatever kind of incentive thing that you want to give them to do. Try all kinds of stuff. It's hard. We struggle to be in God's Word, right? If we're honest, and we're in ministry. I don't know any Christian or any pastor who's like, oh yeah, I spend 3 hours in the Word every day. Our heart's there, but life is hard. And our kids today, I mean, good grief, they're already carrying smartphones. It's really a challenge. So just try several things. All right, I typed that, so I got to scroll back up here. Let's see here. And by the way, in the Kidology Facebook group, if you guys want to post some questions there for me, that'd be absolutely fine. If I miss you here. If you give an assignment to the children, how do you know they did it? And what can we do if the teacher is different the next week? Yeah, that's a great one. No, you're not going to hear back from all 30 kids or all 100 kids or whatever the size of your ministry, but it's also teaching the practice of whenever I learn something, what am I going to do about this? All right, so you don't always get to hear the stories. You celebrate the stories. But in your small group time, you should provide to your small group leaders what the challenge was the week before. So they can start off by saying, hey, did somebody do something kind to a friend at school this week? Hey, did someone clean their room without being told? Whatever your challenge was, and let the kids have a chance to talk about it. And then, boy, when one kid does it, it starts like a snowball. You need one little kid to do it. And then you praise that kid to the hilt for his courage and going out there. And then the next kid's like, well, I want to have a story next week. And so some positive peer pressure can work there. If you have a new teacher, just make sure the teacher knows what the challenge was last week and can ask at some point, and you don't want to put kids on the spot, but how many of you left one of those gospel tracts somewhere that we passed out last week? All right, way to go. You planted a seed in somebody's life. They may not have prayed to receive Christ, but they thought about Jesus, and that moved them in the right direction. You just kind of reinforce it. How can we train our volunteers? Do you have any material to start with? That's a good one. There's so many ways to train volunteers, and they're busy. One thing I do at my church, and you might be able to find it on YouTube because I think I made it unprivate and left some samples up. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's one called Carl's. It's a YouTube channel. I think it's called Carl's Volunteer Videos. But anyway, I create a private YouTube channel, and every week I just give them a short video. Here's what we're doing this Sunday, and I try to make them fun. So I'll dress up. I'll illustrate, the craft or whatever, and then I put them as unlisted, not private. That means only you can see it. Unlisted means you can't find it in a Google search, and then and I send that out to them, and I can see by the views how many people watched it. And that's been really great for me. Kidology has some training videos. We're planning to add some more and to do some more. I used to do a conference called Kidology University, and I thought about, man, I need to bring that back and just make videos for volunteers, all right? But yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. But yeah, there's lots of ways to do it. One-on-one is great. Giving them feedback is great. We do have a zone on Kidology called the E-Tips zone, and there's a bunch of short training blurbs that you can literally copy and paste into your newsletter and to send out, and that'd be a lot of fun. How do you deal with the book form of the Bible versus smartphone version? Some of my parents will not get the kids the book form because they use the phone version. Well, then give the kids a Bible if the parents won't. I really try to explain to parents that kids are concrete relational. They need to see things and touch things to learn them. And the problem, like I said, with a phone Bible is you get no idea of the Bible. You don't get the size of it. You don't get the depth of it. You don't get the age of it. Most everything that's accessible on here was written by man. And there's something powerful about holding the Word of God in their hands. I mean, ask them, has their school shut down the library yet? No, because they know there's something powerful about kids holding a book, seeing their progress through the book. My son's upstairs right now reading a Theodore Roosevelt book, and we were able to say, look, you're on page 53. It's about 100 pages. You're halfway through. You got to finish this book. You know, you can do it tonight. If he was reading electronic, it would just feel like it never ended. And so there's some real power in that. And so I'm big for providing Bibles if the parents can't afford them, finding good Bibles like the Action Bible, the Fire Bible, these fun, and buy them in bulk so you get them cheaper. Parents, $30 on a Bible and their kid's going to lose it, right? So you buy them in bulk, you can sell them to the parents for $20. Parents save money. The church is getting a great Bible into the hands of kids. So that's one thing you can do. What's the best Bible for teachers to use for elementary kids? Oh man, you know, there could be a lot of opinions on that. I would post that in our Kidology group discussion. I love the Action Bible, but any Bible that's a readable translation that's got some fun stuff in there. The Adventure Bible is a really good one. I recently bought, oh, is it handy? No. I bought a Minecraft Bible. Yeah, there's a Minecraft Bible. There are fully illustrated Minecraft Bibles and a small one. And when I go to church with my Minecraft Bible that's filled with Bible story illustrations created in Minecraft, that makes the Bible cool and makes them want to read it. Like, what is this picture about? Oh, man, you should read that story. And so I'm not a big promoter of any one Bible. Let your kid pick it out and pick one that they like. There is a Lego Bible out there. I do need to caution you. The Lego Bible, the Brick Bible, is actually created by a guy who's very anti-Christian. All right. And I've had to show some bookstores, church bookstores. I've been in there going, you need to look at this page because they depict sex and rape and murder and all kinds of things because it is a literal translation of the Bible, not always child appropriate. And it bugs me because a lot of people have just bought this Brick Bible for their kids, and their kids are learning about some things that you might not have wanted them to learn about. So do be aware and do check the publisher, because just because it says Bible doesn't mean it's necessarily a good thing. What would be your top 5 things, props in a prop room, storage room? Oh man, I wish I could give you a virtual tour of my basement. All right, the magic drawing board is my number 1. Yeah, I'm gonna run and grab that. Hang on, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Stay there. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm coming. I'm back. I'm back. All right, this is the number 1 prop every children's pastor needs to have. All right, I use this all the time. It's so versatile. It's a magic drawing board. I actually have the small one and the giant one, and they come from Axtell. We do sell these on Kidology, but you can also go to Axtell Publishing. And I don't have a. Oh, I do have a pen. Nope, not a pen. That's a chapstick. So I can't illustrate it because it doesn't have a pen in here. It uses an Expo 2 pen. I'm gonna look in my drawer. This is so cool. All right. So you get your pen, and I have the wrong color. But you can draw anything from a Bible story. It has to be a face. But I have drawn a drop of water for Noah and the ark. I've drawn a board that he built the ark with. I've drawn things. But the only thing you have to always draw is the eye and the nose and the mouth. And of course, you can get really creative. I've done a bunny rabbit. And then you draw the eyes. Now, because I don't have the right marker color, you're going to notice that these eyes might look like a different color. But you draw whatever you're going to draw, and then as you're gesturing to the kids, the eyeballs move, and the kids go nuts. And every time you look at it, of course, they're right there. And then you start talking, and the eyes go crazy, and the kids are just screaming. It's a blast. And I look, and then finally, I'll look and be like, "Wait, didn't I draw the eyes in the middle? I guess they're, and I'll have a lot of fun." And then finally, the killers, when you say, "Are you moving your eyes?" "Yeah, I'm moving my eyes." And you don't have to be a ventriloquist. You're just having fun. And then, of course, your picture comes to life and talks and tells the Bible story. So that's one of my number 1 props. And I can't use it all the time because it'll get old or they'll start to figure it out. But the story Bible is one. I have a main puppet that I do. I'm a big believer. People say puppets are out. I don't think they are. I think bad puppetry's out, but good puppetry is so effective. I mean, puppets work with adults. I mean, one of the winners of America's Got Talent was a puppeteer, all right? And I just recently saw a clip where Jim Carrey was on a talk show and Jeff Bridges couldn't be there. And so he made a puppet of Jeff Bridges and he was doing this puppet and it was hysterical. And so I think Jim Carrey knows what's in, right? Because he's a leading edge entertainer. Not that we always approve of everything he does, but I'm just saying talent and knowing what entertains. So creating a puppet that's got a name and a personality and you change its clothes often. In the puppet zone on Kidology, there's one on Introduction to Solo Puppetry, and you don't have to be a ventriloquist, right? If the puppet's animated and you're looking back and forth and the voice is different, the kids know you're make-believing. So it's only the adults that go, I saw your mouth moving. Well, good for you. Of course my mouth is moving. It's a puppet. All right, so that's fun. But yeah, those are some of my favorite things to have on hand. And on hats, all kinds of stuff. Let's see. If you bought the books through, that's some mechanical stuff there. Good. How do you train your storytellers? With 3 campuses and several services, we have 27 different storytellers each week, just within elementary. Oh man, well then you need to do a video. You need to tell the story to your leaders. All right, you need to set up the camera and tell the story. And boy, if you've got that big of a campus, I'd create a green screen room, put a green screen up, tell the story, throw a backdrop up there. And in some cases, you might say, you know what, if someone's really not comfortable, you could show the video, but live is so much more powerful. So you tell the story, use the props, and then you tell them, but you own this. You can use different props, make it yourself. But here's what you're going to be someone at the fireplace where Peter denied Christ, telling the story, or you're going to be one of the gatekeepers of King David when you saw the arrow that Jonathan shot, and you're the eyewitness report, whatever it is. Set it up, model it. But the biggest thing, again, fundamentals is fun. Have fun with the kids and telling a story live and having fun with it and making it unique to that location. Don't worry about every location being the same. I've been frustrated as a volunteer when I've just been full-time Kidology and volunteering in a church. I've had times where I've offered to do something and they said, no, Carl, you can't do that because we can't do that in every service, every location. And then we can't have this service being better than the other services. And I disagree with that. The kids at the other services, they don't know what they missed. And why lower the bar across the board? If you want everything to be fair, right? It's like people who want everyone to be equal. Well, then everyone has to be miserable and poor. Because everyone can't be rich and happy, right? And so we have to lower the bar. Well, it's the same in ministry. If we want every location, every service to be the same, we got to lower the bar. And it's okay if the bars are in different places, as long as every location, the bar is as high as it can be there. Because that way they're always going to be moving up instead of moving down. All right, fantastic. Death Star rug, you like that. Can you talk more about your Mother's Day lesson? I'd love to have something more creative than a card for the kids to give. Oh man, we're having fun. Now I just accepted an interim children's pastor job last week, and boom, I'm working on my lesson. So yeah, I just searched the word for Mother's Day, and man, it's rough. The women of the Bible had it rough. I was just talking to my wife about this the other day. It's hard to find a really clean, great story. Because man, the women had a tough time in the Bible, right? Trying to find someone who didn't have some assault happen to them or extra wives and all these different things. But I landed on Moses' mom because she took great risk, great trust in God, and God ended up honoring that, and she got paid to nurse him and to raise him. And so I'm still writing that. I'll post the lesson on Kidology. By the way, because I'm back in ministry, I've made a decision that starting this fall, starting in August, I'm going to start, because I write my own lessons, I'm going to start posting my lessons every week. I did this years ago. Ryan actually co-wrote with me Through the Bible in Kids Church years ago, and I've been looking at that and going, man, this needs to be updated. So I have a 3-year scope and sequence all written out, and I'm going to start writing it. We've got a cool name for the curriculum, but they're going to literally be just on Kidology, available to use, and they're going to be built on a hook, look, book, took model. So if you like that model, you don't have to use that as a curriculum, but you may find supplemental lessons and things like that on there. That's going to be fun. I'll get some Action Bible talk going on. Ha ha ha. Paper mache. Yeah, really bad paper mache. That must be somebody's mistake that they did. All right. And let's see. Thank you. All right. CADVAD. People liking that. Replying to that. Chapter a day, verse a day. I had a fall festival, and I gave kids 1 share per 10 leaves they brought in. We put over 10,000 leaves all over the fellowship, all over the downstairs. Our pastor almost stroked out. Oh, that's hysterical. Yes, you can go to my YouTube channel. Let me see if I can find that link really quick so you can see some of my videos. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/kidologist, and that's a mix of both family stuff and ministry stuff. And then my other channel is called Carl's Volunteer Videos, and I deleted a lot of them when I left my last church because they just were boring, timely stuff. And here it is. So no, let's see. I'm looking at the page, but I'm not seeing how to share the link to it. Oh, here, my channel, because I changed IDs. Thanks for your, I think this is it. Okay, so I'm going to post the link, and I think there's only 8 videos left. Let me know if they're not showing for you, because I think I made them all. Yeah, by the views, I think more people have seen it. But you'll see me dressed as a knight, dressed as a ranger, one with my dark evil man. There's actually me one talking about the Action Bible. It says under parent updates. And so I just did a short video. So I left those up there as samples because I find myself talking about this sometimes. So let's see. Yeah, there's so Oriental trading. Yep, is awesome. Hands-on Bible is awesome. What's the name of that Bible that is not appropriate? Oh, that was the brick Bible, the brick Bible. Let's see here. Magic Drawing Board is called the Magic Drawing Board. And I think it's available at kidology.org/magic drawing board. Let me see if that worked. We'll click on that and see if you get the 404 page or not. Nope, that link worked. So that's where you can get the Magic Drawing Board. It comes in 2 sizes. It's an investment, and we make like no money on this. The reason I sell this is make it easy for people. I think we get like 5%. He just doesn't have the profit room to really do resellers at all. But it is a worthy investment. So that's pretty awesome. My link to Facebook. Yeah, let me give you 2 of them. I will give you mine, and I'm more than happy to be your friend on Facebook. And then let me also give you, did that paste? Yeah. Let me also give you the Kidology Facebook group. And I know there's a lot of Facebook groups out there. I Love KidMin that Ryan started is fantastic. But what makes the Kidology group a little different is although you can also ask all kinds of questions, and I love to answer them, but I also post links there often to just things that are buried in Kidology. We've got over 25,000 digital resources. It's hard to even find them all. And so I'll just feature things there all the time. And there, 3 people want to join the group. Approve, approve, approve. There, that's probably some of you guys. So let me go back and look for some questions. We got about 15 minutes left. And let's see how we're doing. Let's see. Looking for the links are not showing, someone said. I don't see anything you're typing. It says to all panelists. Oh, I need to put all panelists and attendees. All right, well, I'm going to repost those. So here is my YouTube channel, and here's my Facebook. Sorry about that. Normally, Ryan kind of does this for me so I can focus on the lecture, and I'm kind of doing both. Here's the Magic Drawing Board. I don't know what a panelist is, so I'm just kind of reposting some of this stuff. Here's the YouTube channel that is the volunteer videos. And what else did I post here? I think I posted, someone posted the Magic Drawing Board from Axtell. That's fantastic. I don't care whether you buy it through him or me. I also posted the handbook earlier. So let me paste that. And then we got a little time left. I'm going to look here for some questions. Hey, is Ryan here? I think someone just said there's Ryan. So cool. And then bingo. What were examples for look? Examples for look, that's what you typically do. I think a lot of lessons are just the look. They're just the explaining, all right? And so that's the part where you you really just dive into it, and you're giving the historical information, you're giving the background of the person, you're giving the place that this is taking place in the overall scope of the Bible. So it's really answering those questions: the who, where, what, when, how, and why. The bulk of your lesson will be look. Hook is kind of quick and in there. Get them, fun game, 5-8 minutes. Probably not even 10. Your book can be really short. Now, book you can make fun. I have a Bible puppet. In fact, you can probably see him right there. I have a little Bible puppet named Kid. Can I point? Named Kid James. And so I had a set at one church. I'd go to the window and knock on it, and Kid James would come out, and I'd say, do you have a verse about, people who really don't want to come to church anymore, and they probably should go to church? And he'd say, oh, yes, they need to read Hebrews. Is it 4:16? I don't remember. Don't give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing. So you can do the book that way. You can do a game where it's a reveal. Kids come on stage, you give them pieces of words, and they have to try to race to get the words in order. So you can make the book really fun, but the goal of the book is just to reveal a verse. I've done PowerPoints. Ryan used to do tons of PowerPoint games where they uncover words, but it's really discovering the text we're going to study. And now we actually study it, and that's what the look is. And then the took is the application, answers the so what, and gives them a practical explanation. How do you teach epistles? Well, epistles are different than Bible stories, obviously. Bible stories are the narrative of the Bible. The epistles, I don't usually teach through an epistle. Exegetically, we tend to do topically, like we'll do the fruit of the Spirit. Or we find a verse that's a list of characteristics. But then you're really teaching topically. I wrote the entire kids' church curriculum for Disciple Town, for Disciple Land. It's called Disciple Town. It's entirely topical. It's not narrative at all. In fact, some of the feedback the publisher got was people wanted a Bible story. So after Unit 3, I started adding a recommended Bible story that would illustrate the topic. But that whole series, it's how to grow, how to navigate the Bible. So it's all very much epistles and topical. And you can download one of those and kind of see how I approach that. It's the same thing, hook, book, look, and took. It's fantastic. All right, I'm looking for another question here. What do you do when adults don't like how you use worldly toys for lessons? Like Star Wars, that's right. That's where I kind of explain what Kidology is about without using the word Kidology. I say, who are your friends? Your friends are the people who share an interest with you. It might be crochet, it might be golf, it might be a TV show that you're fans of. And you relate well and you become friends because of that common interest. And that's what I'm doing by using toys, all right? The toys might be from the world, but that doesn't mean they're worldly, all right? Worldly means that it's of another kingdom and it's anti-God, and an action figure is not necessarily worldly just because it's of the world, right? And Jesus said, or is it Paul, we need to be in the world, but not of it. So he didn't say don't be in the world. He said just be in the world, but don't become of it. But to become all things to all men so that they might be reached. In fact, in the last Children's Ministry magazine, I did an article about how to be childlike without being childish. And I unpacked that. I'll be able to post that on Kidology in a while, but I can't post it right now while it's still current in the magazine. But yeah, I just let them know, hey, I want the kids to relate to the Bible, so I'm going to use Happy Meal toys, and I'm going to use other things I don't approve of, then I'm not going to use unless I'm addressing it. Sometimes, like when Harry Potter was the big, people either hated Harry Potter or loved him. Almost nobody was in the middle, and so I would address that with the kids. I remember when Pokemon years ago, it's still big, but their slogan was, you got to get them all. And I'd pull the kids in and say, you don't got to get them all. All right, that's greed. Pokemon's cool, but if you start screaming and yelling at your mom because she won't buy you every single Pokemon, now we've got a heart issue. So I just really try to help the parents see one of the biggest things I've done, and it's incredibly simple, is said, you know what? Have you attended children's church? And they usually say no. Say, I would love to have this conversation, but I would love for you to just visit one Sunday. Just come sit in the back, watch what I do, watch how I use the toys and the kids' world references. And if you're still concerned, then let's have a conversation. And never once have I had anybody be concerned after seeing it in action. Because the kid comes home, he's just talking about Pokemon. And the parent's going, I didn't send my kid to church to learn about Pokemon, but kids can't articulate what they gravitate toward, how it related to. So you just have to help the parents see that. And you can do it through parent email. Say, hey, this Sunday I did this object lesson and I used a super soaker, but we were trying to illustrate how Jesus calmed the storm. And so I was squirting the kids until, and there was a Jesus asleep in the boat or whatever. So that helps. A lot of it's just communication, all right? I did have one parent, if you guys know Toy Box Tales, all right? toyboxtales.com, someone can type that for me. I did Bible stories and parables with action figures. They went viral before YouTube existed. And I had one mom who came in the middle when the evil emperor was getting on the ark, because I had Obi-Wan Kenobi was Noah and Han Solo was Ham Solo, and they were all getting on the ark, and it was just a funny video. It's on toyboxtales.com or Kidology, and then they start bringing stormtroopers 2x2 and bounty hunters 2x2, and then there were 2 evil emperors, and Kermit the Frog came out and said, this is terrible, cancel the program. There weren't evil emperors on the ark. Well, all the mom saw was evil emperors getting on the ark, and she grabbed her kid by the collar and hauled him out of there, and had a meeting with the pastor, and it all resolved fine. But yeah, that was when Star Wars got me in trouble. Let's see here. I had to explain why I was shooting their kids with Nerf guns. Guns is risky. Guns is risky. We live in a culture with just some tragic gun stuff. So I tend to even be a little gun shy, literally, myself. I use the foam darts, like we did Armor of God, and I had a Roman soldier up there with a shield, gave every kid a foam dart, and let them just go to town. So I will tend to let any gun use, if I use it, will be aimed at the adults instead of the kids. But hey, sometimes you just have to say, if nobody's upset, I'm probably doing nothing. Because when you're creative and you push the envelope and you do creative stuff, you're guaranteed someone's not going to like it. And the answer is not to be defensive, to explain if they'll listen, and thank them for their concern, thank them for their passion for God and for their kids, and say, you know what, I'll probably never do that again. It was just a one-time fun way I was trying to illustrate this. But just be gracious and loving. Be willing to eat some humble pie, and maybe sometimes go, yeah, that probably wasn't the best idea, but man, and just own it, and you can prevent it from becoming a mountain and just be a speed bump. That'll work great. All right, our time is going down. Let's see, a card game called Redemption, which is similar to Magic and Pokemon. Oh, by the way, we have an incredible thing on Kidology. A children's pastor named Dan Huffman came up with the Great Adventure cards, and I think it's just I think it's TGA. I'll click on that link, see if that worked, if we made it. Yeah, the Great Adventure cards. And they work like Pokemon in that they're in series and the kids collect them. They get them for coming, bringing their Bible, answering questions in small group, bringing a friend. There's even a gospel set. And I'm going to be using that in my new church because the kids just love it. And then there's even a Bible quiz question with a reference. So parents at home can go through the cards and quiz their kids. And if they don't know the answer, it's right. The reference is right there. Open up the Bible. I love going to homes and seeing rubber banded stacks of Great Adventure cards right on the kitchen table. So yeah, and I haven't heard of the Redemption one, but any use is great. What do you do when you feel like a volunteer is trying to take over, like planning events without you and then informing you later? Well, I don't know your role, and I don't know the volunteer's role, but if you are the leader, especially if you are the paid director or pastor or whatever, you've got to establish policies and procedures so you're not reacting to that person. You learn from that by saying, okay, I've not been clear on what the expectations are. And so you need to create policies for, can a Sunday school teacher have a party at their house or an overnight? No. All right, there's a great security risk there for children. And so once you create a procedure and policy and you explain it to everybody, then you're not attacking that leader for what they did. What you're doing is you're learning from what they did, and you're creating a policy and a procedure that if they do it again, then you're able to say, we talked about this, you can't do that. There's a good chance they won't do it again. They'll be like, oh, I didn't know. If it's actually an attitude of trying to usurp you or trying, then you got to address that head on, graciously, with kindness, with as many compliments as you can rack your brain to come up with, and say, we need to be on the same team. I'm the leader of this ministry. I need team members who are working in a unified front. If you can't do that, then I would love to help you find a new ministry in the church. You know, the youth pastor is always whining about needing leaders, all right? Or you sound like you'd be a good singer. I bet the choir could use, and you go to your senior pastor first, so that when they run over your head to the senior pastor, he backs you up. You just can't put up with that. But what you do first is you go, what do I need to do different? What do I need to change? Policies, communication, expectations, things like that. And then once you've put that in place for everybody, then you address the individual, and you do it with grace, but tough love, because you're the advocate for the kids. It's not about they're offending you. It's about they're impacting the kids' ministry. All right. Well, hey, it looks like we got time for one more question here. So thank you for the encouragement. Let's see. I read that one. All right. Going once, going twice. I'm looking for that last question here. And if it's not there, then hey, I'll be praying for you as you come up with your assignments with the challenge this month. I hope to get to see some of those. Be sure to sign up in the Kidology Facebook group, because I don't know how long you get to stay in the KidMin one when your time in the class is done. Feel free to contact me with questions. If I can answer, I will. I may point you to someone who can answer it better. Love for you to join Kidology. It's $10 a month. You get access to tons of stuff. If you can't afford it, just go to the join page and click the scholarship link, fill out the scholarship information, and we'll give it to you free. We don't charge a membership to keep anybody out. It's just to support the ministry. But hey, we don't want anyone to not be able to be in there. So thank you for your time. Remember, why do champions win championships? It's because of the fundamentals, all right? They make it fun. They know how to use a hook, look at the book, explore it in the look, and they don't forget the took. If you do those four things, you're teaching, you'll become a championship teacher, because the kids will be champions, all right? Thank you so much. I look forward to interacting with you down the road, and cheers to you for investing in yourself through KidMin Academy to become all that you can be for the Lord. Thank you so much. I'm just going to end the recording now. Goodbye. I stopped the recording, but I'm still here. I can still feel a few questions, but I wanted to keep the video to the hour and 15 minutes that Ryan asked me to do. So just wanted to see if I didn't miss anything here. All right, we had a great turnout today. We hit 99, at least one time I looked. So we had a great, it says Carol raised her hand. I don't know what that means. What do I do? Let's see here. Oh, there's a Q&A box here. I've been using the chat, but now I see there's a Q&A box. So let's see here. Oh, these are the same. These are the same. Oh, good. I thought it was 21 more questions. So fantastic. Would love to meet you. There's your email. All right. Well, let me copy and paste that, and I will drop you a little email later. I'll just drop that in a brand new email. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate the encouragement. I'm just going to cruise over these comments before they disappear, and make sure I didn't miss anything. Some good stuff here. Someone said there's Ryan. Are you there, Ryan? Hey, you're hooking up. That's great. You're both in the same city. Time to have a coffee and talk kids ministry together. Oh, I see. That email wasn't for me. It was for you guys connecting. All right, that's great. Everybody get all the links that they wanted. I know for a while I was posting the links incorrectly, so I'm glad that they're there. No, I will not be able to be at the MegaCon. I am speaking at KidMin's group's KidMin conference this September, and I'm a kids pastor again, so I have to really watch how many things that I take on and do. but perhaps I'll be there in a future year. Oh, the cards. Let me type that link again. Kidology.org/TGA. It stands for The Great Adventure, and that's called the Great Adventure cards. And there's posters of the cards. There's the collecting notebooks that you can put the cards in. There's 80 different cards in the set. They come in batches of 25. You have a mixing up party because they all come rubber banded. And you mix them all up and you give them to your small group leaders and your leaders. There's even buttons that say "I'm a trader," kind of like Disneyland. So the kids can go up to a leader and trade cards with them. They're trying to complete series. And if they complete a series and they can answer all the questions on the cards, then they get some kind of a prize. So it's a lot of fun. How do you do big group, small group in a small church? Well, you've got a small group. So, I didn't do large group, small group for years. When I was in small ministries, after I just taught all the kids, we just got in a circle, and that was our small group. If you've got the volunteers, you can just divide by boys and girls, so they're not poking each other or they're not self-conscious in front of the others. But you can just do two groups, and boys go over here, girls go over here. When you get a little bit more, you can break that by grade. You can be first, second, and third boys and girls, and fourth, fifth, and sixth boys and girls. Have four groups in the four corners of the room. You just do what works for you, and based on the volunteers you have and the time that you have. Some small churches dismiss from adult service before the sermons. They don't have as much time, and that works too. But yeah, just be flexible. Try different things. There is no formula that works for everybody. All right. The favorite story that I like to teach is Zaphanath-Paneah. Oh man, he is my favorite Bible character. And I don't know if you've ever taught on Zaphanath-Paneah, but it's the most incredible story in the Bible. I love to divide it into 5 parts. I've done Zaphanath-Paneah's story in camp. I've done it in kids' church. It'll be part of the new curriculum that I'll be writing this fall. I'm going to be teaching him again. Oh, you don't know who Zaphanath-Paneah is? See who knows who Zaphanath-Paneah is, and maybe I'll send you a prize. The first one that can comment and say who Zaphanath-Paneah is. Hey, Nick, you are the winner. All right, cool. So Nikki, is it Nick? All I see is Nick. So Nick, you won. You were the first. So you have to send me, post your email, and I'll send you a prize for being so quick. But yeah, I love the story of Joseph. Zaphanath-Paneah is his Egyptian name. That means the revealer of the hidden things, the seer of the unseen. It's a very cool name, and the kids like that. And so I'll talk about Zaphanath-Paneah and it's driving them crazy until they find. And as I describe his life, like, oh, that's Joseph. And then your hook, man, is all about, man, can you imagine if you could dream and see the future? Whoa, there's a dude that he actually could see the future when he dreamed, or he could interpret dreams. That was Daniel, so I'm confusing Bible dudes. But he actually could interpret dreams and tell about a funny dream that you had. And but anyway, that can be your hook. So all right, so there's Nicole. I'm gonna grab your email there, Nicole, and you are gonna get a prize. All right, could be something really cool. Could be something really lame. I don't know. You'll have to be the judge of that. So I will start my email, and when we're done here. All right, well, I'm gonna end this. Thank you again for your time. For those of you who lingered, I can't believe this. We've got over 70 people in the post-show conversation. I look forward to connecting with you guys again in the future. And I just got to find the end button there. Wait, why does it say recording still? I thought I hit stop. I think it's still recording. Let me try this again. Stop.